everyone. My name is Michael McAuliffe, and this is Gordon. We're with Family Credit Management, and for the next half hour, we're going to talk about a really special and important topic, and that is kids and money. Because Christmas is coming up, kids might be getting some money, but regardless, it's so important to learn how to handle your money, how to spend your money, how to save your money, and we've been in the business of money management for 30 years now, and one of the things that we've learned is that the earlier you get these lessons figured out, the better off you're going to be.
Yes.
So what do you think about money management and money and credit and all that?
I mean, it's important. You can't just go spending all your money at Dollar Tree.
You can't, well, you can, right?
You can, but you shouldn't.
No, what happens if you do?
You end up like me.
Which is?
Broke.
Now what about your sisters? Have they learned to save?
Yes.
And who's better off?
Them.
And you don't have to save, it's not about large amounts of money either. It's about, really you can just even do small amounts and how much they add up. We talk about a lot of people, spending $5 a day or something, and it seems like that's not that big of a deal. But $5 a day just on work days, it's $100 a month.
I mean, the thing is that when you're walking to work, is it better off that you stop at the train station and at the convenience store and buy a bottle of water for $2.50, or is it better that you bring your own bottle from home? That's pretty much just free. Just get a reusable bottle and bring it every day.
How much does that cost you? Not much, right?
It can cost you like $5 for the reusable bottle, and you use that for months, and you're saving a lot of money, and it's better to save than to spend.
I agree. It's better to save than to spend. That's an important lesson that a lot of us, can learn from, right?
Yes, very much so.
And when we spend, what's some of the important things? So when we're spending money, what should be important to us?
You're not wasting it.
Not wasting it.
A lot of time, money you need to spend money to live. I mean, you need to pay for things that are needed. You need to pay for housing, you need to pay for food, you need to pay your bills, you need to pay for all that. But when it gets down to the very bottom, you shouldn't be paying for something that's expensive. And if a lot of stuff is expensive that you need, but a lot of stuff is expensive that you don't need, but you are still paying for it. For example, if you're buying a TV, it's a lot better to keep your old TV than buy a new one, because a TV is something that you don't need in life.
That's true.
I mean, if your house burns down, you need to find another one to rent or to buy. But that's different. You need a house. You need somewhere to live.
We've got to really balance our spending and figure out what's important to us in life.
And it's important not to be just completely a cheapskate, not spend any of your money, because then you're just going to not spend any of your money your whole life. And that's not a good way to live your life. But you should not spend it on something that you will just get bored of and end up throwing away.
That's true. Now, your sisters, Gordon's got two sisters, and one of them was real good with money and one of them was real bad, weren't they?
Yes.
And we put together a book about them, didn't we?
Yep, we did.
What's the book? What's the story of the book?
It's called Catherine and Elizabeth Go Shopping, and in the story, Catherine is spending all of her money. The second that she gets her allowance, she basically just goes to the store, goes to so many stores, she just spends it on everything that she can find. Elizabeth, on the other hand, saves all of her money until she finds something that she really wants to buy and that she thinks is going to be valuable for her in the future.
And so this book is, it's right in time now because we've got free copies of it to everyone, don't we?
And you can get it at?
You go to familycredit.org or catherineandelizabethgoshopping.com, and you can actually order a free copy of the book. And this is actually a real book. with illustrations, and it's a good storyline, and it's actually be a great Christmas present to give to families that have children who want to learn about spending, and we will ship it to people for no charge at all.
Free shipping, free copy, free
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, we received a grant to be able to provide this, but it actually is, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
And it's completely free if you use the promo code SAVING.
Okay, that's the promo code to use it.
And if you forget it, it's fine. It's all over the website. You'll be able to find it.
And we've got received a couple grants from some banks to help us with that. And if you want the information again, there is the information for us. And I think we actually have a caller. Should we welcome to the show?
Hi, I have a question. Spending is so much fun, and I'm struggling to figure out how to teach kids why it's important to save.
So, how do we teach kids your age, why is it important to save?
Well, it's because it's good. It's in the future. It's good to save because if you spend all your money on just complete garbage that you're never gonna want or use, that's just a waste of money. And money, it's good to save money, and because for future investments like getting a house, getting a car.
Let me ask you this.
bills.
Have there ever been things that you've wanted to buy that you couldn't because of money you spent already that you wish you could have gotten back?
Very much so, yes.
So let me challenge you. If you think about your room and all the things you have and all the things you've bought, if you could go back in time, would there be things that you wouldn't have bought?
Not all my stuff is in my room. Can it just be all my stuff?
All your stuff, sure.
Okay.
There are things, if we could put the dollars and attach it to everything you bought, put the dollars and attach it to everything.
And I could either
You could either take the dollars and then the item would poof disappear, or let them keep the money. You think you'd collect money?
I wouldn't get rid of everything, but yes, I would definitely collect a lot of my money.
And I think that's one of the things, and one of the things I challenge people to is to look around their room. Look around their house. Think about all the things that you have. And are there things that you wish you could get the money back that you spent, and how many of us, including myself, would rather get money back for things that I had bought, especially, and we're talking about a specific goal for kids and how to explain it to kids, specifically for kids, to explain to them, you want to have this, you want to have something expensive, like maybe a new bike, but money that was already spent. And I think it is an important lesson to let kids have their own money that they earn, that they spend, even if they're making mistakes. And have you spent some money sometimes I've thought it was a mistake?
Yes.
Was I sometimes right?
Yes.
But let them make that mistake so that when the time comes, they can then understand, so that when they're, older and have more money, that perhaps they won't make really large and costly mistakes.
Because you need to teach kids, because the only way that kids will learn is if you tell them. A lot of times it doesn't work. They need to find it out for themselves, so they know, okay, now I can't do this. You know what I mean? If I do this, it's gonna, it's not gonna be rewarded. It's gonna be, it's.
And, having conversations. We've had conversations when you've wanted to buy something that you couldn't because you didn't have enough money for it anymore. And I've said, well, maybe if you would have saved the money instead of buying A, B, or C, you would have saved that money, then you have something bigger. And then think to ourselves when we're going to buy something, is there any chance, or what is the chance in the future, I'm going to want to buy something that is, that this money I could use to put towards that? Right?
Yeah, I have definitely wasted my money on not all of my stuff, but most of my stuff.
And you think now you're starting to get better and making better decisions?
No.
No, not at all. So what do you think we need to do to help you make better decisions regarding money management in the future?
It's hard.
It is hard. It is hard.
I'm better than I used to be. But
Okay.
I still waste a lot of my money.
Well, recognizing that is what can, really help in the future. And then understanding something called compound interest.
Yeah.
And compound interest means you put the money in the bank, you invest the money, then over time, it's going to build upon itself. And you're going to start to make money off of your money. And you talked about bottle of water. But, going out and getting lunches, or if someone spends just $25 a week, that's $1,200 a year.
And if you, let's say you were thinking about getting something. If you would have brought it from home, or even a lot of times you get things and you never end up using them, you might, on your way to work, you might stop and get something from the convenience store in your office building or in the train station, and it's either going to be you had that at home and you could have saved money, or you could have bought it, or a lot of things is it's cheaper if you really need something, if you aren't able to pack a lunch, you need to buy a lunch to make at the office or something. You shouldn't just go to a convenience store and buy something. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
It's a lot cheaper, and on your way to work every day, you could stop at the convenience store, get newspaper, get lunch, get water, get whatever you need. But what's cheaper? Doing that? You could do that, or you could bring it from home, or if you don't want to do that, it's a lot cheaper to go to any other store than a convenience store, because convenience store prices are going to be a lot higher than an average store like a Walmart.
That's absolutely true. In fact, you had commented to me a couple times when we were at stores that they were selling things there that you had seen previously. Where?
At Walmart and Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
And what a lot of the smaller shops do, if you go to a small privately owned shops owned by a family, what a lot of times they'll do is they will go to cheap retailers. They might go to Costco and get something in bulk. They might go to Walmart and get something that a lot of times, which I see a lot of them, they get stuff from Dollar Tree, because Dollar Tree owns a lot of their own companies, so you can check to see, and if it's made by Dollar Tree, there's a specific company that they own, and I look at it and I'm just like, that was sold at Dollar Tree to the owner. And it's not just happened on one occasion. I've seen them selling, and they can be selling anything from cheap stores. I mean, if there's anything you're buying, you could probably buy it for cheaper.
And what kind of markup did you see?
I've seen, for example, things like a tiny little tub of dip for chips that was sold at Dollar Tree once, that got raised up to $5, which that you could have saved $4, not including tax. So really,
So you got choices, like you said. Bottled water is a perfect example of coffee. You could go to the store and pay $2 for a bottle of water. You could get one for $0.25 when you buy a case at home, or you could get a refillable glass and use it over and over again, right?
And it's not just convenience stores. I mean, even when you're going to Walmart, you're not always getting a good deal, because sometimes you won't use it, or it's just not a good deal all the time.
And I'd say one of the biggest mistakes that parents make is not having a conversation with their kids about money.
Yes, and
So
a lot of them don't know how to, is the thing.
they don't want to, they're afraid to, they may feel they're not really good with money themselves, but we all have lessons, we've all learned things, and we all want to do better at it. I think that's one of the real key components, is to start in a conversation younger and earlier, and helping them understand. So this book was written, years ago about his sisters, and Katie was really bad with spending. She spent her money kind of as soon as she got it, like somebody else. Now, how is she now?
She's great with money. She is always thinking before she buys. She's not going out and spending all of her money like someone else.
But when she was your age, she did the same thing.
I think the important thing is that if a kid learns, they're going to find out eventually, hey, I spent a ton of my money. And if your child ever asks you for something like, hey, can I get this new, game console, whatever, you should say to them, and And what you should do is you should find things around the house that your kids can earn money for, and you can say to them, okay, you do this, you earn money. And if they ever come to you and say, hey, can I have some money to get a new console or whatever, you should tell them what happened to that money that you just earned. You should have spent it on that. And if they say, oh, I spent it on this, well, I'm not going to give you money because you already spent it on that.
And like I said, the key is having conversations with them, not getting mad at them because they don't like the way they spent the money.
It's not. You shouldn't get mad at them, especially if it's their money.
Yeah.
If it's their money, they should do whatever they want with it.
But having a conversation with them about it and helping them understand, and talking about it later, like, well, do you think maybe you should have spent the money on that? Are you still happy with that decision? And in a nice, friendly, conversational way, and see how it goes. And then hopefully when they get to be 16, like your sister is, they've started to go, I understand now, and I'd rather try to save the money, and they start making better decisions. And that's really the key. So I think we've got another call. So let's welcome to the show. What's your question or comment?
Thanks. Yeah, I had a question. I was just wondering, what's a good age to start talking to my kids about money and finance or managing my money?
So what's a good age?
I think the good age is the day that they learn what money is.
So
I mean, you should teach them as young as possible, because it's never too young to teach your kids to save money. It's never too young to teach your kids to not spend money awfully. It's never too young to do that. I mean, you want to teach them when they're young, because a lot of times when they're young, they'll learn something when they're young, and then they'll remember it.
And one of the things that amazes me is how many kids have absolutely no idea when they get into college, and I taught college for several years, and I taught finance in college, and how many kids I would talk to that had absolutely no idea when they got on their own what things were going to cost. And there's no reason we should be embarrassed or ashamed to talk to the kids about, here's what car insurance costs, here's what a car repair costs, here's what
A car costs.
your car payment, groceries. You don't want to go into, especially with young kids, about private information about like how much money that a family makes or you bring home. I wouldn't recommend that. But having a conversation about, what does the electric bill cost? What is car insurance? What are some of the things that a family has to pay for and plan for, and especially those unusual expenses, like something breaking on the house, or an appliance, or your refrigerator goes out, or your hot water heater goes out, and how you start saving money and putting off to the side. But letting kids know, that these are critical questions, and so they understand that here's why it's so important that they save, because he may want to save now so that he has the money when he wants to get a bike. I may want to save now, so I have the money when a car breaks down, or when we have to get a new hot water heater.
And I think it's very important for kids to learn. It's definitely important, and I think when kids spend and you should teach kids, and you should both teach kids to save and not to spend. Now, and that you should teach them that saving means not to spend, but it also means to spend. Now, it basically means spend, like, you spend your money, but don't spend it very expensively on things that you don't need, but also, don't get things you don't need. So you need to save on the things that you need to get, but then you need to not spend on the things that you don't need to get. I think is very important.
I think that's important lessons, and I think that too often, like we said, I've seen so many kids, especially young kids, who have no idea that you don't just go to an ATM and get money. They have no idea how credit cards work, and they just see the parents go in the ATM and money comes out. And they see parents put down a credit or debit card and just sign their name. And they start to think that, not realize how hard it is to get $1. And how easy it is to spend $1.
Yeah, it's definitely harder to get than it is to spend. I mean, it's a lot of, you need to teach kids, hey, I put my credit card or debit card in, but that's taking out my money. That's not just, and it even talks about this in the book, that it's not just, you don't just spend, it doesn't just magically come out from a machine. That's actually your money that you need to spend, and it's coming from you, so it's like you need to spend it.
And put it into perspective. How much, we don't have to say how much that we earn, but letting the kid know that, hey, this costs $12. And that is what a lot of people make in an hour's worth of work. And so asking them, so do you think that it's worth an hour worth of work in order to buy this? And also starting to have a conversation about needs versus wants. And there's lots of things, and a lot of times, especially kids, get a little confused with what is it that I want and what is it that I truly need to survive.
Yeah.
Because we need far less than that we want.
Yes.
And you have to prioritize.
For example, you want a new TV, but you need a new. But what do you want a new TV?
But you need a winter coat.
Yeah, it's kind of things like you need to have clothing, you need to have housing, you need to have food, you need to be able to have money to pay your bills, you need to have electricity, you need to have car, you need to have gasoline, you need to have all these things. But it doesn't just, it's not just like magically comes to you from the sky.
No, and it's amazing how many people don't really understand, how many children don't really understand where money comes from, how hard it is to earn, how credit cards work, how interest works. So if you buy something on that credit card and you're not able to pay it off, how much it's going to cost. Because credit card interest rates are still, in the 20% for most people. And if you don't have that savings off to the side and you have a breakdown or you lose overtime or something happens and you have to maybe go to a non-traditional high-interest lender where you could be talking interest rates, we've seen them 2,000, 3,000% a year. So really, really high expensive interest rates, right? Mm-hmm. So those are things to think of as well, and to let kids know that if you don't have the money, then if you get a $1,000 loan to repair your car, you're going to have to pay them back far more than $1,000. Depending on your credit, you may have to pay them back $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 to borrow that $1,000. And if you just save up, $20 a week over a year, you've got that $1,000 now. So now you don't have to worry about doing that.
Yeah, it's really, for example, if you save money, it's you need to save money. You need to save money to basically survive.
And we have to let kids know because there's no way of them understanding. And like I said, that's why having the conversations with them sooner rather than later, and about where money comes from, how credit works. The money coming out of the ATM is not just free money. If you can't pay your credit cards off in full every month, what's going to happen to you? What you're going to pay in interest rates. You're going to pay back a lot more than you borrowed from them. And that's all, really critical, important lessons. And like I said, this book, it's a great book. We have a digital copy online as well if people want to look at it. But like Gordon was saying earlier, it's a story of two girls. One saved, one spent, and then one realized her mistakes. And now we can tell you in real life she's a lot better. So as we're starting to wrap things up, is there anything you want to, last minute closing things, say to Chicago?
There's no reason not to get the book. It's completely free. You can just go online to familycredit.org or CatherineElizabethGoShopping.com.
That's the website right there. So any final things you want to say to people about money management, things you've learned, things you want, important lessons?
Just save.
Just save. Save your money. I think that's a real good idea. Watch your spending. And then he'll be back in a few months, I hope. And maybe you'll be able to report that you've improved.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. I guess that's all we can ask for. I'm going for yes, yes, yes. All right. Thank you very much. And there's our information. And good night, everyone.